Lesson 5.1, Rational Numbers. A rational number is a number that can be written as a quotient of two integers. So basically you can make it into a fraction. If you can make the number into a fraction, then it's a rational number. Most numbers are rational. If they're not, they're called irrational. Terminating decimal is a decimal that has a final digit. A repeating decimal is a decimal that has one or more digits that repeat without n. Show that the number is rational by writing it as a quotient of two integers. What that means is I want you to write it as a fraction. Well, the integer 3 can be written as a fraction, 3 over 1. The integer negative 12 can be written as negative 12 over 1. Or you can put the negative on the outside or with the denominator, as long as there's only one negative. These are the same thing. That's what equivalent means. Part C, 4 2/3 can be written as a quotient of two numbers. Remember, quotient of two numbers, so it has to be an improper fraction. Remember, 4 times 3 plus 2, all over 3, 14 over 3. Think of negative 2 1/4 as the opposite of positive 2 1/4. So just write 2 1/4 as an improper fraction, 9/4, and then just put the negative. To write negative fourths as a quotient of two integers, you can assign the negative to either the numerator or the denominator. And that's what they put in these two examples. Remember, as long as there's only one negative. Example 2, writing fractions as decimals. Write 5/16 as a decimal. What you want to do is you want to move the numerator down and you put that underneath the division sign. So what you have is 16 into 5. You can't do that, so you put the decimal point, add a 0. And then you have to figure out what number or how many times 16 goes into 50. That would be 3. Remember to bring up this decimal point. You keep going and you multiply 3 times 16, which is 48, subtract, bring down the 0. How many times 16 go into 20? Once, subtract, you get 4, bring down the 0. 16 into 40 is twice, subtract, have the 8, bring down the 0. 16 to 80 is 5 times, subtract, you get a remainder of 0. Once the remainder is 0, you have the decimal of a terminating decimal, which is 3,125 10,000ths. Remember, we do not do remainders anymore. Okay? You cannot just say that you have, I don't even know how you would do this at this point. I guess say a remainder of 2, 0.3 to remainder of 2. No, you can't do that. No remainders. That's an elementary school thing. Write 4/9 as a decimal. So we bring down the 4, that goes inside. How many times is 9 going to 4? 0. Add a decimal point, bring up the decimal point, add a 0. 9 into 40, 4 times, subtract, you get another 4, bring down the 0. It's going to keep going with the 4. Now, these dots are not how you tell that it's a repeating. You actually use a bar, okay, it's called bar notation, to show the repeating digit. In this case, you put the bar over the repeating digit. So the 4 repeated, and we don't want to do 44 repeating. It's not 44 repeating. It's just 1 4 that repeats. Okay, so be careful about that. You don't need this extra 4. It's the same number. Only 1 4 repeats. Write the fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So please try 7 through 4. 1 through 4, excuse me. Number 1, bring down the 7, 20 into 7. You should get an answer of 35 hundredths. Number 2, bring down the 3 and just do 5 into 3. You just know the answer is going to be negative. Add the 0. 5 into 30 actually goes 0.6, which is negative 6/10. Okay, with a mixed number, this 2 is already a whole number. So it's already 2 point something. So the only thing we actually have to do is bring down the 12. So you have 25 into 12. Bring up the decimal. And this is how you start with the decimal point. Okay, whatever your answer is here, okay, instead of the 0 point whatever, it's just going to be 2 point whatever your answer is, which is 48. So 2 and 48 hundredths. Again, when you would do this by hand, you would get 0.48. Just bring over the 0.48 with the 2. 40 into 23 with the decimal point. Bring up the decimal point, add a 0. You get 575 thousandths. These are all terminating because they end. You can use decimals to compare fractions. I actually think comparing fractions by putting it into decimals is the easier way to compare fractions. Otherwise, you have to find a common denominator. So 42 48ths becomes 875 thousandths, and 27 30ths becomes 9 tenths. When you do this, I like to line up the decimal points. Maybe take a card or your hand and put it over this number. Compare the 8 and the 9. Well, the 9 is bigger. So 27 30ths is greater than 42 48ths. Writing terminating decimals as fractions. To write decimals as fractions, you need to think about how you correctly say the number. This 3 is in the hundredths place, so your denominator is 100. It's 3 over 100, because how you say it correctly is 3 hundredths. There is no shortcut to this. You have to think about how you say it correctly. For example, part B. Negative 9 is your whole number. The 4, and you can just put the 4 up here, is in the tenths place, so the denominator is 10. Negative 9 4/10. You simplify the fraction because 4 and 10 are both even. Divide by 2. Negative 9 2/5 is your answer. We're going to skip this part. Try number 5 through 8. Remember, you're writing it as a fraction or mixed number. Think about how to say it correctly. We don't say, the shortcut way is to say 0.8. But in reality, this is, pause the video, try 5 through 8. Number 5 is 8 over, this is the tenths place, so 8 tenths. Simplify, and you get 4/5. Remember, if you do not simplify, you will get points taken off. Number 6, you have the negative 3 as your whole number, and you have 75. So I always start here, and then I think about what the end place value is. This is the hundredths place, so I put 100. Simplify, and you have negative 3/4. My apologies, skip 7 and 8. We did not do how to write a repeating decimal, and you will not see that on the test or quiz. We can order these rational numbers by turning them into decimals and put them on the number line. Again, I think it's easier to turn them into decimals first and then graph them on the number line. And there's the order from least to greatest.